I just want to read this quote. I just saw it on Instagram, and it perfectly sums up. I mean, it sums up my growth over the years in my understanding of the two-party system. It also, I think, sums up a lot of people, how you kind of start out when you're younger and how you end up if you actually study and keep reading up and keep learning about what these monsters are actually doing, what these parasites are actually doing. For a long time, I thought the Democrats were fighting valiantly, but just overwhelmed by the oligarchy and the Republicans. That was me in like 2006, 7, going into 2008. I was in my 20s. The quote continues. Then I saw that the Democrats keep losing fights they should win and figured they must just be weak and ineffectual. Then I kept seeing them backing off without putting up any fight at all and decided they were gutless cowards. Finally, I noticed that enough of them keep voting with the Republicans to always ensure that the Republicans more or less win almost every single fight, and that they start by bargaining from the center position and moving right. And eventually, after enough of that, it became impossible to ignore the only conclusion that actually fits the facts. The Democrats are not overmatched. They aren't weak. They aren't cowards. They're complicit. We get to the end point. They are complicit. They are part of it. It is one party. This is the show. This is the theatrics. And anybody who actually does the reading, does the work, watches the true great thinkers out there will get eventually to that understanding that they are complicit and that they are largely, our systems are run by people outside of the two-party system, outside of Congress. I mean, if you want one easy explanation of them not actually running things, Congress has no say really over the CIA, over the black budgets, over a lot of what the Pentagon does, over Pentagon intelligence, military intelligence. And even in the Pentagon, even though they supposedly have say over the Pentagon, they don't actually, because guess what? All of the money in the Pentagon ends up $1 trillion a year. A lot of it ends up missing. A lot of it ends up going, they don't know where. They say 63% of their assets. This is the last time the Pentagon failed their audits. They failed 5 audits. They've never passed one. They've never actually accounted for their assets. And then this latest one, they said they can't account for 63% of their assets at the Pentagon. So obviously Congress cannot oversee something that is missing and unaccountable and unaccounted for. That's just a side note about how these people are not controlling things. Even Jon Stewart has abandoned Biden. Now, Jon Stewart, I don't want to pretend Jon Stewart hadn't made fun of Biden for years, even, going way back. Obviously, he's only been back at the Daily Show for a bit now. Yes, he's been making fun of Biden plenty, but this seems like he's done. This is a pro-Democrat guy. This is a guy who largely does not, dig beneath kind of the Democrat-Republican duopoly. He doesn't usually dig much deeper, occasionally a little bit here and there. But his job, even though he is critical of them, his job is still to say, these are the two sides. These are your options. I mean, how often do you see Jon Stewart either saying, doesn't fucking matter, same one party? He doesn't say that. And he also, how often do you hear him saying, third parties, wow, Jill Stein's got a lot of great things on her platform. Wow, Cornel West has a lot of great things on his platform. Wow, Claudia De La Cruz has a lot of great things on her platform. Wow, the rock I found in my front yard has a lot of great things on his platform. Now, he may have one of them on once on the show, but that's different than actually touting these things, actually raising these important points. Anyway, I just wanted to make the point that this guy he props up the Democrats at the end of the day, really, even though he makes fun of them. So he's playing clips of the debate performance and he's making fun of it. And I just wanted to show you this to show that even Jon Stewart is done with Biden.
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Oh, shit, we're back, baby! Abortion! A to the B to the O to the R to the D.
And of course, just to throw in here, that this would be a perfect chance for Jon Stewart to say, this shows how there's so little light of day between these two parties that there is like 1 to 2 issues that you can actually go, oh, wow, they are so different. Oh, my goodness, abortion is so different. Why is it 1 or 2 issues? It should be all the issues. Every issue, you should go, wow, they are so different. Instead, with every issue, we go, wow, they are the same, except on abortion and a handful of others. But instead, Jon Stewart doesn't do that. He is right now, jokingly, but celebrating how like, oh, this is the issue that Joe Biden will destroy Donald Trump on.
To the repeal of Roe v. Wade. That is Trump's weakest issue.
It's been a great thing.
Oh, he is. It's a great thing. Hit him, Joey.
It's a terrible thing, what you've done.
This is awesome. We are done here. TKO. No. Joe, don't say anything else. Joey.
The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that.
Did you just immigration abortion? Hey, I know abortion's one of our strongest issues, but let me for a moment talk about immigrants killing and raping people. It's one of our weakest. Folks.
So I just wanted to show you that even Jon Stewart is obliterating Biden. Even people that have you'd think would never back down from saying Biden is absolutely the candidate. He will run. He will win this election. He will, as Biden says, he will win in 2020. So I can't wait to see that happen again, I guess. Then, of course, there are also my criticisms of Jon Stewart. That right there would be another perfect point for Jon Stewart to go, oh, immigrants killing and raping people. Wow. Statistically speaking, immigrants far less likely to kill and rape people. If you actually look at the numbers, the undocumented immigrants that are caught killing and raping is a far lower percentage than those who are citizens of America. What? How could that be? And I mean per capita percentage. I don't mean per actual number percentage, because obviously there would be fewer of that. Anyway, that would be a great chance for Stewart to throw in that. Instead, he leaves it at like, oh, we, meaning Democrats, because he considers himself a Democrat, we have no ability to refute the fact that undocumented immigrants are just killing and raping all over the place. No, they're absolutely not. And in this clip, he's maybe accidentally, if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt, accidentally furthering that lie, one of the many told about immigrants. There's a million other things you could say, such as the fact that we are a nation of immigrants and that the percentage of immigrants in this country and coming to this country has been somewhere between 10 and 15% for nearly the entirety of our existence as a country. We have had between 10 to 15% immigrants every year, and that has not changed yet. Now, oh my God, they're different colors. It used to be that they were Italians and Irish, and when those were the immigrants, at least they were the same colors, even though we hated them. Oh, did we hate them? And when you say we, generally everybody saying we is actually also descended from immigrants in this country. If you go back just a generation or two. So everybody gets into this country and then turns around and says, slam the door behind me. That's what people do. Anyway, he could throw in some notes like that, but at the moment, he's too busy furthering some of that bullshit. But my point was actually not largely to criticize Jon Stewart. It was to say that even Jon Stewart, even Democrats, even Mark Warner, Mr. Democrat-y McDemocrat, has said that Joe Biden should step aside. Biden is being abandoned because he is, it's so, here's the thing. I am in the awkward position of going, wow, this guy is a fraction of his old self. He is a fraction of his mental capacity that he used to have. And yet, what's awkward about that is when he had all of the things still ticking, when all of the hamsters were still running the wheels, I hated all of the things he said then. I hated what he had to say. I hated what he did back when those things were still going around. So maybe a dilapidated mental capacity is a better thing here. Of course, it just means that these sociopathic decisions that are being made by our ruling elite are just being made by other people instead of him. But they were probably being made by other people instead of him a lot of the time anyway.